let's get into the preview for the Boston Celtics against the Indiana Pacers here. Boston, it is very much expected, and we thought they would get to this point of getting to the conference finals, potentially going all the way to an NBA championship. But for the Indiana Pacers, they were slightly favored in their first series, despite being the 6th seed. But I don't think we saw the Pacers getting through the New York Knicks, especially after going down 3-2 in the series. But here they are. Any team that gets to the conference finals is deserving of doing so. It's extremely difficult to get there. A lot of teams on a year-to-year basis failed to get to this point, so we will give them some credit here. However, not a lot of credit going towards them through sportsbook odds on this one. We've seen the Celtics at minus 900, minus 1,000, minus 1,100 to win this series. Pips, just to get things started here, do you think that this price is accurate? Are the Boston Celtics as much of a favorite based on the sportsbook odds as they should be?
Yeah, I mean, I would say minus 1,000, probably a reach. I
Really?
mean, yeah, I think that's without Porzingis. With Porzingis in, probably not. Without Porzingis, I think it's too much. I mean, this will be like Pacers are winning math game in this series with threes. So if they run hot, like they have chance. I mean, they have chance with Porzingis out. It's difficult for them to stop Brown and Tatum, but they will take away spot up in threes, and they will be like, okay, Brown and Tatum attack us inside. On the other side, we'll shoot the hell off out of three-point ball. Boston allows the 3-point shot, so we'll see what the Warriors says in this series. I don't think Pacers are that big of a like underdog. Said the same thing against the Knicks. Wasn't that crazy of a line, but said the same thing against the Knicks. Of course, people will say, "Oh yeah, but Knicks got injured." Yeah, that was part of my analysis in the series. Thibodeau tips running them to the ground. Exactly what happened. Game seven, their legs were not there. Like they were completely out of it. They couldn't get a stop at all. And Pacers, like they are not a
I
great
mean,
team.
look, in fairness to the Knicks, the Pacers shot the hell out of the ball in Game 7. It was one of the most efficient
True,
games ever, which they
true.
needed to win that
But
game.
the looks inside were all great looks. Like they had scored so many easy baskets in that game. Like yeah, it's an outlier, but not that. When you look at quality of the shots, they were getting it. So I'll say Boston, of course, for a reason, big favorite. But I won't say that Pacers don't have a chance. I think Pacers have a chance, and it's heavily reliable on Boston shooting a bit below average from 3-point line and Pacers shooting above average. But that can happen. We can go back and look at the Miami series last season against the Celtics, and that can happen. And I know that for a fact this series will rely on 3 points shooting, and I think Pacers can keep it up with how poor Boston Celtics play in the fourth quarter. Like when it's crunch time, if Pacers can keep it close, hit some threes, they can win some games.
I think it will. Well, it has to hedge largely on the Pacers, maybe keeping the pace throughout the game. Do you think that Indiana will be the best team that Boston has faced so far in the playoffs? I mean, I don't think we can consider Miami there, but do you think that this Indiana
Yeah,
team is comfortably better than that Cavs team?
yeah. With Cacao without Mitchell and Allen, yes.
Yeah,
Cacao without Allen and with Mitchell, tough. But yeah, I think. I mean, they have kind of size with Siakam and Turner to defend. They have Nesmith and Nemhard to throw on Brown and Siakam for Tatum. Nemhard combination Nemhard with Nesmith on Brown. That should work in one coverage. Siakam should hold his ground. Nesmith should for sure hold his ground and get them to make tough shots. Another side, everyone on this Pacers team can shoot. So it will be like big shooting variants, and we'll see how it goes. And I don't trust Boston in the last, if it's a close game with 5 minutes left. So yeah, I'm like, I hate when this happens. Like, and everyone on Twitter, on social media, everywhere is like, who is Boston playing in the finals? I hate it. Like, they're playing Pacers right now, and they are still not through. And I think people are very much underestimating Pacers. I don't like this Pacers team in this part of the playoffs, but still, I think they are underestimating the power of Celtics getting complacent in the late into the game, and the power of Matt in shooting from the Pacers. I will say that, like, I'm staying behind it.
So despite this, do you still feel as though the Celtics are the favorite to win this series, despite maybe price wise for the betting side of it? You might look at the page and think that's a pretty good number, but as far as just series, who do you
Three to
think is going to
one.
win? Is it still Celtics for you?
Yeah, 3-1 for Celtics. Yeah, I will say 75% Celtics.
75% for the Celtics, just not quite to the severity that we see here. How many
Yeah.
games do you expect this series to go as a result?
6.
6?
Yeah.
Yeah, with all the series we've seen so far, as much as the Celtics were way better than Miami, they were way better than the Cavaliers. I always maintain that Boston's always going to give you one. They'll give you a game. And I expect to see that once again for this series here. But I think the Pacers are very much good enough to take a game for themselves as well. Like you said, with the 3-point shooting variance we're going to see in this series, look, if the Pacers can shoot anything like they did in that Game 7 against the Knicks, all you have to really do is go somewhere close to that once in this series, and the Boston Celtics just aren't going to be able to maintain that level. I don't think this is I agree with you. I don't think this is as clear cut of a series as this has kind of been made out to be at this point. Don't really feel like that's the case at all, especially with Porzingis being out. And I think a lot of the way people are trying to treat this one is like this is a great opportunity for Boston to rest Porzingis for another series. I don't know if it's going to be as clear cut as that. I very much don't believe that this is just going to be another one where they can kind of walk through the series. This should prove to be a decent test, but ultimately I think the Celtics, if they fail to get through in this series, there will be, if they don't win a championship, there's going to be some questions. But if they go down to the Pacers, there's going to be some very large questions here because, despite me saying earlier, every team that gets to the conference final is good. If you offered Boston a chance to play Indiana in the conference finals to get to the NBA finals, they very much would have taken it. This is a massive opportunity there. Defensively, you were mentioning the Celtics in late game situations tend to struggle. Defensively, what are the Pacers going to be throwing at the Celtics in those situations to make it more difficult for the Celtics to come through in those clutch spots?
I don't know if they decide to double Tatum, but I doubt it, especially game one. Maybe adjustment if they see that Siakam can hold his own, but I think he can. I think Siakam is a good guy to put on Tatum. On the others, and Nesmith is a good guy to put on Brown for
That's
sure,
what I was thinking.
especially Brown not going left. So it's like, okay, he can, if you are predictable, Naismith is a guy that can stay in front of you. It's not like Brunson, like he can pull everything, like every single move when he's driving. Brown is a different kind of player. So uh, the Celtics are great at defending three. They are great at defending transition. That's two things Celtics love to do. No Porzingis is huge for them because Horford will be in chicken barbecue on defense in drop coverage. Cornet or Horford defense will be painful to watch at times for sure. On the other side of the court, Horford and Cornet can provide anything on offense. Horford can spot up, but with them not helping, this is not serious for Al Horford. So it's down to Tatum and Derek White and Brown scoring inside mostly. Turner is a good rim defensive player, like good rim guy, good rim protection. And Siakam and Nesmith, and yeah, I think they are actually matched up pretty well. Horford will have trouble with Turner pick and pop. The only thing I will be more in favor of Pacers. If I like Halliburton matchup for this one,
Right.
yeah, that's like the issue. Like for like they have White and Holiday to throw on Halliburton and make his life very very more difficult. So yeah, that's the thing I don't like for the Pacers in this series.
I think two ways the Pacers are going to the way in which the Pacers are going to have to win this series. I think that first of all, the pace is going to be massive. Absolutely, just bringing the utmost amount of pace to this series, turning this into a marathon. That really worked for them against the New York Knicks in Game 7. I mean, the pace in which the Pacers played, even off of a New York make, the Pacers were getting out in transition and scoring off it. But I think that what the Pacers kind of, I wouldn't say unlocked in the Game 7 against the Knicks is that they started going to the Pascal Siakam post-up plays a little bit more. It's always confusing to me why that isn't like a go-to play for a lot of teams. It just seems like the Pacers were doing that when they had to. But I think they should go to that fairly often here. Siakam has faced the Celtics in the playoffs before. It's been quite a while now, different player now, but he really struggled in that series. It was the post-ups that kind of led to that demise, but he's kind of manufactured so many different ways to score out of those situations now that I very much feel as though this could be something that threatens the Celtics if the Pacers can really get going. Again, I do think that's where they found some success in that Game 7, and maybe we'll go to it a little bit more moving forward. That being said, to wrap things up for this series, anything betting-wise that you want to look for in this series specifically to take advantage of, whether that be a series bet or whether that be little things along the way that you're looking for?
Overall, good series for probably from Miles Turner. Good that's for the Pacers side, and on the other side, probably not great series for Horford. Uh, I don't know. We need to see how they approach the game one, but yeah, I just think a long shot taking Pacers to win 2 games at plus money. Plus money should be okay, but I think they are going to take two, so that's it. Well, I didn't even check the number on this. If you can check this at the spot, what are the odds for it for Pacers to win two at least?
To win two at least. So from the chat, somebody mentioned that Sam C said they took over 5.5 games at plus 125. Is that a number you'd consider?
Yeah, that should be okay. I think there are like 50% chance, and you're getting plus money, so that should be good.
All right. So if you can get decent range into the plus
120 or better.
Okay, plus 120 or better. If you can, for the Pacers to get 2 games out of this series, that is something that Pips would be looking to attack for this series. I'll find the best price there I'll find the best price for widely available books and track that for the page as well. That will wrap it up for this series. Let us know what you guys think is going to happen here. We think the Boston Celtics will advance, but perhaps not as easily as one might think based on those sportsbook odds.